everybody. Welcome to Let's Unravel, and I'm your friend Christina. So, hot take, is Thanksgiving the lost child between Christmas and Halloween? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll let you know my thoughts at the end of this episode. So, thanks for stopping by. Whether you're a new listener or friend of the show, I just wanted to say welcome. So, next week is a big week for Let's Unravel. We are having our second guest come on to the show. Now, I'm not going to spoil who that guest is, but I will say it was a great conversation and you are not going to want to miss this episode. So make sure you are subscribed to us at Let's Unravel Pod on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you don't miss this episode. Now, to get involved in the conversation, which I highly recommend that you do, because we want to hear all about how you're winning and what topics you want to hear on Let's Unravel. So make sure you're following our Facebook page at Let's Unravel Podcast, and you can also connect with us on Instagram and TikTok at Let's Unravel Pod. And you can also catch short clips of the show and other news on those channels as well. So without any further ado, let's move into our favorite topic here at Let's Unravel, win of the week. So we have a couple win of the weeks this week. The first one is, this is our 20th episode. You know, it's so cool because I think about TV shows. Some TV shows nowadays don't even get 20 episodes. So the fact that we're on our first season of Let's Unravel and we've made it to episode 20, I would say it's safe to say we have our very own first full season. We've gone the distance. I think that's really exciting. And I couldn't have done it without you, the listeners, and you guys tuning in every single week. So thank you so much for that. And the other exciting thing now, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, you can see that I have a little something special behind me. That something special behind me is, I'll call it a Christmas tree. You know, I'm filming this. It's the first week in November. And dare I say, I like to decorate early. It just makes everything a little bit more festive, a little bit more joyful. And so I'm bringing that here to Let's Unravel. I do have a little bit of a Christmas tree behind me, but I will not forget about Thanksgiving. So let me know your thoughts about Thanksgiving, Christmas. Am I violating something sacred by bringing a Christmas tree onto the show? Let me know your thoughts. And also, I want to give a big shout out to all the veterans because when this episode airs, it will be airing right before Veterans Day. I have some friends and family members that have been veterans, and I just want to say a big thank you to all of you and for your service. America wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you. Now, without any further ado, let's move into our topic of the week. What are we unraveling today? Well, it's the first week in November, so we are bringing back our pop culture report. So let's unravel the pop culture report for October. Now, I do have to say what's really exciting is our pop culture report for September was one of my highest rated podcasts just across YouTube and Apple Podcast and Spotify. So it was really cool. You guys really like this pop culture report, which I'm not going to lie, I'm a little biased. I love the pop culture report. Honestly, I just love talking about like whether it's like current events or whether it's what's going on in pop culture today. So thank you so much for humoring me because it's something I very much enjoy. Okay, without any more delay, October was a wild month. I mean, after all, we had a jewel heist, Halloween, new Sally's popping up, and not to mention Group 7. We'll get into all of that and more. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Report. All right, so to move into our first topic of today, the jewel heist. And not just any jewel heist. This was the Louvre jewel heist. So I find this topic to be so exciting, not just because it's a jewel heist. And I mean, these are the movies that like you would watch growing up about how it was like everything from like Scooby-Doo trying to solve who stole the jewels to all those ocean movies, even though usually that was around like a casino. But the point is, a jewel heist. This is something, actually, no. The Oceans, I think it was Ocean's 8, and that's the movie with like Anne Hathaway, Rihanna, and all these other very well-known women celebrities. That was the movie where they stole jewels from the Met. So that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about the Louvre heist. And not only is this crazy, but just the way this happened was absolutely crazy. So first of all, this is not a laughing matter. This is very serious and very important to the French people. But it's also hilarious because this happened on a Sunday, October 19th, 2025, this year. And it happened at 9:30 in the morning. This didn't happen at night. This didn't happen when there was like a whole event going on. This was just like an average Sunday at the Louvre. Tourists are coming in. People are going to look at the Mona Lisa. And also, because I've been at the Louvre, I can tell you, this museum is huge. Like, there is no other way to describe how big this museum is. You can get lost in the Louvre. The most impressive thing about this jewel heist was not only did these thieves break into the Louvre, and they did it in broad daylight at 9:30, they got in and out under 4 to 7 minutes. They stole 8 different crown jewels or different historical pieces of jewelry, all under 10 minutes. In, out, and on the road. And then the wildest part is, so obviously they took a bunch of different jewels, but you would think like one of the most important ones would be like the crown. Now, granted, they had like a tiara, they had necklaces, they had a bunch of like timeless historical pieces, and that's what the French government is the most upset about. But the funniest thing is, so they get the crown, and out of the 8 pieces they took, they lost one. And the one they lost was the crown, which if I was the thief, I think I'd be devastated because you'd be thinking like the crown is the most important one of all. So the fact that you dropped it, and they dropped it outside the Louvre. So they didn't drop it in the Louvre and like they didn't make it. They made it out of the Louvre with the crown. And then they dropped it as they were trying to get away. And to me, that's like the funniest thing. Now, my favorite thing about this whole heist is just the way the world has been reacting to it. I mean, I feel like Americans are more invested in this heist than French people are. Which it's kind of funny because I even saw a comedian do a little bit of a bit about this whole heist. And they happen to have some French people in the audience and they're like, oh, how do you feel about this heist? Like, does it really bother you? And all these things. And they're like, no, like we don't care at all. And it's just so funny because obviously I'm like, Americans, we're so invested in this. Like, I can't wait. You know, this is going to turn into a movie. So I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see the documentary. Whatever kind of art is produced from this, I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be right there. I mean, this needs to be turned into a Scooby-Doo episode because I promise you, Scooby-Doo, he would figure out who these thieves were. So that was just a little exciting news about what's going on in France today. So moving into a whole new category, instead of world events, let's move into music. So there's a couple new things on the music front that I've noticed. So the Jonas Brothers, they are on tour, and I feel like they have taken over my TikTok For You page. I feel like I see clips of them at a new show like every single day, but their crowd interactions have been so cool. And that's something that I think a lot of artists have started to really lean into, is doing a lot of like crowd work. And it's really cool because you're seeing that from like the Jonas Brothers, from Role Model to Sabrina Carpenter. There's a lot of these different musicians that are starting to do different crowd interactions. And the Jonas Brothers have had so many like really cute crowd interactions to really sweet crowd interactions. There was one crowd interaction where there was like a little boy, he had made a TikTok video to Joe Jonas saying like, who can do the meanest or scariest face? And so then Joe Jonas found him at his show. They did a little like, who had the craziest like face or whatever. And it was so sweet. There was another moment where a newlywed, they had just gotten married that day. They left their wedding to attend this concert, and then they brought them on stage to do their first dance. It was so cute. I mean, there has been so many different crowd interactions with the Jonas Brothers that have been so sweet and have been like so much fun just to kind of watch. And then even bringing in the world of TikTok. So now everyone gets to actually to see it. So it wasn't even like, oh, it just happened at a show and it's all like secondhand talk. No, people are filming it as this person's having this crowd interaction with the Jonas Brothers. A lot of times people are filming it and they're like, how can I get connected with this person? I want to send them this video. So it's just been really cool. Kudos to you, Jonas Brothers. You guys have really hit it out of the park doing all your crowd work. So it's just been a lot of fun to see. Now, the news doesn't end just with the crowd work and the Jonas Brothers. They also released a new song with Russell Dickerson, I think his last name is, and it's called Happen to Me. I have to say, I've had that song on repeat since it's dropped. It's really good. And so Russell Dickerson, he is a country star. I am not a fan of country music. Like, I can tolerate a little bit of country, but I am not like a true country fan by any means. But in this instance, the song is really good. I like the way everything blends very well together. And on top of it, I've also been listening to the Jonas Brothers song Backwards from their most recent album that came out. I believe it came out over the summertime. So I have to say, October and the end of September has been like a big like month and a half for the Jonas Brothers. They announced that they were working on Camp Rock 3, which is wild because now all 3 Jonas Brothers are going to be starring in Camp Rock 3. But they also announced that they have a holiday movie coming out November 14th. That's a Friday, and it's called A Very Jonas Christmas Movie. So I'm really curious to see that. But to jump right back into Camp Rock 3, so not only are they starring in Camp Rock 3, but we found out Demi Lovato is also tied to that movie. Now, she's not supposed to be starring in that movie, but she is an executive producer. So now moving into Demi Lovato, there's been quite a few things going on with her just within this past month of October. So not only has she been working on Camp Rock 3, from all the research that I've done, it doesn't appear that she'll be starring in Camp Rock 3, but she is involved as an executive producer. Now, am I secretly hoping that news is going to come out that she is in fact part of the movie movie, like starring in the movie. I hope so. I think that would be like a really fun surprise. But just from all the news and everything I've been seeing, it looks very likely that she's not going to be starring in it. And they also just posted about how Camp Rock 3 is coming to Disney Plus. So it'll be exciting to see when they drop that release date of when that movie's coming out. It'll be really cool to see. Now, on a music front from Demi Lovato, she just released her newest album. It's called It's Not That Deep. Now, I did give it a listen. I only listened to it about once, but I went through the entire album from beginning to end, and it's definitely a pop album. I will give you that. So the cool thing with Demi is she's done a bunch of different music styles, and I really appreciate it because I think there's something unique about musicians when they try different music styles. It just shows how you grow as a person. But I will say with this particular album, it's not my vibe. I listened to it once. I probably won't listen to it again. So it's definitely a pop album. I would say there's a lot of like high energy to it, but it's always exciting to get new music from Demi. Since she released this album, she's been promoting this album or just kind of like getting out there and just doing more promotion in general. She has a hilarious commercial with Jimmy John's. They're bringing back the Pickle Witch, which is basically instead of bread for a sandwich, it's pickles. So it's really cool. But in the commercial, she's hilarious because she's doing a little callback to some of like different phases that she's been in. And honestly, it was a really good commercial because she's kind of like picking fun at herself. And there's nothing funnier than when someone can kind of pick fun at themselves, like knowing like this was a little bit of an awkward stage that I was in, but like I can laugh at it, so you guys can laugh at it too. And that Jimmy John's commercial, I think, is one of my favorite commercials so far. And plus, who doesn't want to try a pickle witch, you know? And then lastly, on Demi news, she also did a really funny sidewalk interview. So recently on TikTok, I have been seeing all kinds of like sidewalk interviews. There's a bunch of different like TikTok shows or series that are doing it. There's one, I believe, that's called like Not Okay. And that's where like a host will stand there and ask whoever the person they're interviewing, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's just like a normal bypasser, and ask them random questions until all of a sudden they'll get to a consensus like, do I think you're okay? And they'll say like yes or no. So Demi Lovato had done an interview like that with, I believe it was called Not Okay. It was just hilarious, that interview and exchange back and forth. And now that I've talked extensively about TikTok, I think it's time we dive headfirst into our whole TikTok category. So there has been all kinds of viral moments and trends happening on TikTok in the month of October, and it has been hilarious to watch. So like I said, we talked about the sidewalk interviews. There's actually another funny sidewalk interview with Joe Jonas. I believe it was by the same series that was called Not Okay. They did one with Demi Lovato as well. Those are hilarious. I'm telling you, it's like under 60 seconds or maybe 90 seconds. They go through, they ask a bunch of random questions, and they're just coming to this end point of, do we think this person's okay? Yes or no? And the best part is they will actually say if they're like, no, I don't think you're okay. And it's actually quite hilarious to see the person's reaction when they're like, yeah, I expected as much. Anyways, okay, so one of the funniest like trends or inside jokes that's going around on TikTok, maybe you've heard of it. It's called Group 7. So Group 7, I saw this video when it like first came out. It came across my For You page. And so there's this content creator. She's a singer. Her name's Sophia James. She created this video series. She created 7 videos and she numbered them group 1 through group 7. So there's group 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 7. And she posted them like pretty close together as far as like timing wise goes. But for some reason, group 7, like that video, got a lot of traction. And so people were liking the video. But then what was so funny that was happening is group 7 started to bleed over into all these other like videos or trends. And next thing you know, comment sections are blowing up with this quote unquote like inside joke called Group 7. Like, are you from Group 7 or Group 7 is here? So anybody who had gotten Group 7 like as a video on your For You page, a lot of people were going back to Sophia's TikTok account. They're going to the older videos. So like group 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And they're going to the comment section and they're like, yeah, I'm spying here from Group 7. Now it's bled over into, as different content creators are making videos, they'll say like, this video's for anyone in Group 7. And so it's really become this funny inside joke. But what's been the silver lining, or honestly like the marketing genius behind like Sophia, whether she was aware she was doing it or she just so happened to get lucky, Sophia tied her song to every single video. And so her song has blown up on TikTok because it's been tied to this Group 7 video. And for someone who she's like a newly emerging artist, this is like a huge win for her. She has gained so much traction and she's basically created this lore of this whole idea of Group 7, and people are still running with it. It'll be interesting to see if this trend keeps moving forward. Like, I'm so curious to know how long this joke is going to run for. Now, another funny trend that has been going on TikTok is AI generated content. So what a lot of people are doing is they're creating these AI generated photos. So they might take like a photo within their house and then they'll upload it to one of these AI platforms and they'll tell them like, can you include, and so one of the videos I saw was this girl took a photo of her entryway. So it was like her front door. She opened the door and she took a photo so it looked like you could see the outside. She uploaded it and asked for AI to incorporate like a homeless man to be at the entryway. So a homeless man would be standing at her front door. So she sends this photo to her parents and all of a sudden you just see screenshots of their conversation. She goes, yeah, like this homeless man's like at my front door and he said he was cold, so I'm letting him in. And what they did is they've gone around the house like taking photos and they're having AI generate this homeless man into all of these photos to the point her parents think it's real and they're like, what is wrong with you? Call 911, like get this guy out of your house. And then it's funny because once that video gained a lot of traction on TikTok, other content creators have been going around creating their own spoof on it. There was one girl who was pretending that there was a plumber in their house and he wouldn't leave. And it got to the point to her boyfriend comes home and he goes, where's the plumber? Like, I'm kicking him out of the house. And then he finds out it was all fake. It's hilarious. But the craziest thing is it looks so real because it's AI. And you're also taking a photo within your home. So you're uploading. I mean, it's just wild to see some of these videos. It could really have you going for a minute that you're like, what the heck is going on? And yeah, just kind of wild. Anyways, so last month on the Pop Culture Report, I told you all about how allegedly KJ Apa created a character called Mr. Fantasy. So this month is no different. So allegedly, Kevin James created a character called Matt Taylor. So Kevin James, he is the star of King of Queens. He's been in movies like Grown Ups and just a bunch of other things as well. But I saw a video of this Matt Taylor and I'm like, he looks identical to Kevin James. Now, KJ Apa, when he allegedly created Mr. Fantasy, he has a wig on, he has fake teeth in. There's more plausible deniability that you're like, maybe this isn't KJ Apa. Now, Matt Taylor, he is identical to Kevin James, looks identical to him, sounds identical. I mean, there's even some people that are like, his mannerisms are identical to Kevin James. But the funniest thing is Matt Taylor, so his account name is @ThisIsMattTaylor. He's supposed to be an art teacher who shares classroom lessons, art lessons, and motivational commentary. But it's hysterical because he comes on, he just starts talking about like art and classwork. But Kevin James nor his team has come out and confirmed any of the speculation, but it's really funny to just kind of see these videos, which if I can find a video for you, I will insert it here. So,
hey guys, Mr. Taylor here. Today I'm going to be answering some questions, but my students say I talk too slow for social media, so I'm going to kind of do it quickly. Here we go. First question is, how long have you been teaching art? And that's about a total of 14 years. For the 4th grade, I did a year and a half with 7th grade. I like the 4th graders much better. Do you have a way of dealing with dried acrylic brushes? Yes. Murphy's oil soap. Try that. Okay. Third, why do you paint couples in all of your landscapes? I don't think maybe, and actually in a lot of them I do, but not in all. I don't do that in all of them. But the other thing I guess it's because I never realized that. When you're painting like an ideal, I guess, of what you know, and for me to see a couple is a completion. And my life right now, it's we're working there. Good question though. What's the funniest thing a student has ever painted of you? I know this exactly. I was a bald eagle. Someone made me a bald eagle. He put a smock on me, and in my talons, I had the wings and talons. I was carrying a brush. That's it. Hope you guys have a great day.
but yeah, I mean, like he looks identical, sounds identical. It's got to be Kevin James. That's all I'm going to say. All right. And so on our last trend from TikTok, one of my favorites has been, there's been a trend called a new Sally every night. So a singer with the stage name of Role Model, he has a song called Sally When the Wine Runs Out. And so what he's been doing is at his different shows, he's been saying, where's my Sally tonight? And he's been bringing out a special guest to be his quote unquote Sally. And so some of these special guests have been like like some of his friends, one of them being like Jake Shane. He's a really popular podcaster, and he's had big celebrity names come on as well, such as like Natalie Portman, Hilary Duff, Kate Hudson, Olivia Rodrigo. And it's just been so much fun. And the best part is, depending upon which celebrity it is, if they know the song, it's so much fun to watch them like sing and dance and really get into it because they know the song. And then you have some of the other celebrities that are just really excited to come out and just be like, ooh, I'm here. But once again, this is going back to like a crowd interaction where you're really creating this like one-off moment. And this has been something that has been so cool to watch, especially like if you know he's on tour and you know he's going to a new city. It's almost like you're constantly waiting. Like I saw one girl say, I wait every day to wake up to see who's the new Sally. And one of the big ones that got a big reaction was Kate Hudson and Hilary Duff. For Hilary Duff, he was doing some type of music festival. So everybody had all these ideas like, I think it's going to be this person. I think it's going to be this person. And then all of the sudden, Hilary Duff comes out and people are like, this is what dreams are made of. And if you're a Hilary Duff fan, you know that reference. Anyways, that's all on our TikTok front. Now moving into TV series and movies. So we have a couple TV shows and movies that we need to talk about that have been going on. So the newest show that I've been watching is actually a reboot. It's called Matlock. And so the original show Matlock aired in the 80s. So this reboot actually takes a spin or kind of like draws from the original series that aired during the 80s. But the reboot follows the character Madeline Matlock, which her nickname is Maddie. And I'm not going to give too much away because in case anybody hasn't seen the show and they want to go see it. But it's really funny because the star of the show, she is played by Kathy Bates. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Kathy Bates, she has been in movies such as Annie, Titanic. Like she's a very well-known actress that as soon as you see her, I think you'll instantly be like, oh, I know her from, and in my mind, I instantly go to Annie. And then after Annie, it's Titanic. She's hilarious in this role. Now, I will give a disclaimer. I've only watched like 3 or 4 episodes. I'm still on season 1, but it's currently running on CBS, and so they have their second season currently airing now. But what makes this show so special is it focuses on a totally different perspective because you're seeing it more from the perspective of an older woman who had been retired and now coming back into things. Whereas when you look at other shows like Suits, you're looking at it more from the male perspective, or you're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, is Mike really a lawyer? And if you've watched Suits, you know the answer to that. And so that's just where it's a little bit different from all the other shows that are about lawyers. And it just, I don't know, it's kind of cute. It's just different. Now, moving into another show, Emily in Paris. A new trailer has officially dropped for season 5. It's coming out on December 18th. Now, I have a little bit of beef with Emily in Paris. I will admit, I stopped watching the show a couple seasons ago because as soon as they started to introduce the idea of Emily leaving Paris and going to Rome, you lost me. You really did. My favorite was the earlier seasons of Emily in Paris. I mean, to some degree, it was a little bit cringy, but that's why you liked it. It was a little cringy. Like that was kind of the draw of it. And it was funny because one of my friends, we would watch the show and we'd call each other and we'd talk all about it because we were like, oh my God, could you believe this? And one of the things that we agreed upon was the first few seasons were the best seasons. They were unmatched. Now it's almost like one of those things, anytime a show gets past almost like 4 seasons, that's when you really get to know almost like how good are the writers, because you start to run out of ideas, or you decide that Emily in Paris is going to be Emily in Rome. I mean, I would love to know if at some point in time they decide to rebrand and go with Emily in Rome, because that would be hilarious. At this point, I've seen jokes that they rebranded it to Emily in Rome. I have a hard time believing they would actually do that, but if they do that, that would be a first. I'd be kind of interested in that. Anyways, but let me know if you think that was a hot take about preferring the earlier seasons. I feel like most people would say you prefer the earlier seasons of a show, but if for some reason you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. Moving into another really popular show taking over Netflix and everything else in between is Nobody Wants This, starring Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. I love Adam Brody, I will say. And Kristen Bell, she cracks me up. Kristen Bell is one of those actresses where you forget how much that she's done until you start to look at her catalog of all the different projects that she's been a part in. One of my favorite projects that I realized she was involved with was when you realized she was the narrator behind Gossip Girl, like the original Gossip Girl show with Blake Lively. She was the voice of Gossip Girl, and her voice, her narration made the show. Like, in my opinion, it was my favorite thing. But moving into Nobody Wants This, okay, I'm gonna admit, maybe this is a hot take. I don't care for this show. I understand why people like it, but personally, I couldn't get into it. Like, I tried to watch a couple episodes of season 1, and something about it, like, I really didn't care for it, which is weird because, like I said, I love Adam Brody. I loved Adam Brody in the OC. He was great. And even Kristen Bell, I have a deep appreciation for her that I can enjoy watching her in a variety of different movies. But for some reason, I kind of just don't really care for this show. But I will say, I saw that Leighton Meester, which is the real life wife of Adam Brody, which is also funny because Gossip Girl parallels here. Leighton Meester was Blair and Gossip Girl, and who was the narrator for Gossip Girl? Kristen Bell. So it's just kind of funny to see how all these parallels or all these strings, they start to align with each other. But back to Leighton Meester, she makes a special appearance in season 2. I always love when real life partners will come on to like shows or movies or make little appearances. So even though I don't really care for Nobody Wants This, I'm definitely going to watch the episode that she's in because why not? So let's move into our next show and my latest obsession, Dancing with the Stars. So I basically traded the Summer I Turned Pretty Wednesdays to Dancing with the Stars Tuesdays, and I'm not mad about it. I actually find it to be one of the highlights of my week. In the past, I never really sat down to watch Dancing with the Stars, or like I had no interest in it. I mean, there was a few times where my mom would record it and she'd be like, oh, I'm watching Dancing with the Stars. But this past season, I'm no longer just watching the short clips on TikTok. I'm actually watching the episodes, which is a whole different viewer experience because then you're seeing like the short little like interviews or documentary style of what the star has gone through for the last week. And I have to say, like those little interviews or those little documentaries, those have actually started to become like one of my favorite things because you get to see kind of like what goes into the dance. And right now, I have to say this season is one of my favorite seasons. I really liked last year's season of Dancing with the Stars because I knew a lot of the celebrities, but a lot of the celebrities in this season have really grown on me. The reason why I was watching Dancing with the Stars this season is really for Robert Irwin because I had been seeing his videos on TikTok. He was really funny and it was like, okay, I kind of would like to see what his personality is like. Oh my goodness, this guy has no dancing experience and he is fantastic. Like every single week, he is hilarious. I mean, the judges keep saying like he's such a fantastic dancer, just all these different things. But honestly, the person that has really like stolen the spotlight, in my opinion, is Alex Earl. I knew of Alex Earl, but like I never really looked at her content or really kind of cared to kind of like know who she was. But I have to say, like after watching Dancing with the Stars, I'm an Alex Earl fan. Like to see the amount of like commitment and work she's put into this whole show, I'm like, if she wins, I would be so happy about it. Like personally, I would love to either see her win or Robert win. For a long time, I really wanted Robert to win, but I have to just say like Alex, she's really won me over. So at this point in time, I really want to see her go the distance and win. I think she could really do it. That'd be awesome. And plus, I like Val. Val's her partner. So once again, so some of these other celebrities that have made this season so good and so entertaining to watch would be like Jordan Childs. She's an Olympic athlete. She was a gymnast. She competed in the Paris Olympics. Just seeing her personality in all of this has been really cool to watch. You have Daniela Fishel. She's Topanga from Boy Meets World. I love watching like her little like interview before her dance. In my opinion, I feel like she has gotten really good over the progression of the last couple of weeks. And she even did like a whole Boy Meets World dance where she brought out Mr. Feeney. So like that was like cute to see. And then you have Elaine Hendricks. She played Meredith Blake in The Parent Trap with like Lindsay Lohan. Oh my God. This season has been filled with some awesome celebrities. And so one week they do where it's like you can dedicate a dance to someone. So that means you can bring out like a family member, a friend or whatever. She brought out her best friend who plays Chessie in The Parent Trap. So that was so cute. I'm telling you, this whole season, it's like nostalgia meet like modern day, because I think of like Alex Earl, TikTok, and Jordan Childs and Robert Irwin, like that type of thing. And then the funniest part of this whole season is Andy Richard. I think that's his last name. So Andy, so he's not a very good dancer, but he will not get eliminated. His fan base is so strong. I mean, it's hilarious. So there was one week he was in the bottom 3. Everyone thought he was going home. And when they announced another girl ended up going home, Lauren from Fifth Harmony ended up going home, his dance partner was shocked. His dance partner just stood there like, oh my God, Lauren got eliminated because everyone was assuming it was Andy. Now at this point in time, they don't even put Andy in the bottom 3 anymore because he apparently has such a strong fan base. If Andy wins, that would be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just so funny. But also, the voting system is kind of bizarre. And apparently, every week they seem to break a new record for the amount of votes, which, come on, that has to be like a lie. Even like when you used to watch like American Idol, Ryan Seacrest, he'd be like, oh my God, we broke a record. Did you really? Did you really? Or are you just saying that? Like, I'm really curious to know at this point. But for our very last movies and TV show segment, which actually, now that I think about it, going through my notes, I don't think I had one movie on here. Sorry. I am not a Halloween horror movie person, so if that was something you were hoping to get covered, unfortunately, that is not my cup of tea. I said in last week's episode that I don't like horror movies. I'm afraid of my own shadow. That still stands. That still stands. But for our last segment, Hallmark Christmas movies. All I have to say is it's November. Hallmark movies, they're playing. They're on, they're in the background. And did you know they have a new holiday touchdown movie? So last year they made a whole movie about a Chiefs love story. It was about the Kansas City Chiefs. This year, they're making one about the Buffalo Bills. I'm sorry. That is just like the funniest thing that they're making love stories based off these teams. You know what? I watched the Kansas City one last year because I was curious. I thought for some reason it was going to have something to do with like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So I was a little like confused as to what they were doing. But then I watched it and it was a typical Hallmark movie, which one of the funniest things that my family, like me and my family, what we do is when we watch a Hallmark movie, my dad has started to notice that in every Hallmark movie, some relative dies. Like before the movie even gets kicked off, like someone dies somewhere, whether it's a grandparent, whether it's an actual parent, but somehow someone is always dying in these movies that now it's become almost like a running joke that we're like, how long into the movie until we find out someone's died? So let me know if you've ever noticed that. Let's bring justice to these Hallmark movies. Like, no more death. Let's just bring back the normal stories about the high-powered lawyer coming back, runs into her old high school sweetheart who's a lumberjack. Let's keep things simple. Anyways, so that is our last topic for our pop culture report for October. We have no quotes, no episode in a phrase, and no sticky thoughts because this was all pop culture all the time. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. And thank you for just, talking with me all about pop culture. Now, if there's things that have happened in October that I didn't discuss, drop a comment down below because I'd love to know what I missed. So I would love to connect with you more. You can connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Let's Unravel Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's show or the podcast show in general, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can now leave reviews on Facebook. Your 5-star ratings and comments go a very long way. You can find our Facebook page at Let's Unravel Podcast. Also, please don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you might be listening to stay up to date on all new episodes. We release new episodes every single Thursday, and you are not going to want to miss a thing. Well, I guess it's that time of the episode to tell you my hot take. Is Thanksgiving the lost child between Halloween and Christmas? Honestly, it probably is. But I also love Thanksgiving. I'm a little partial to Thanksgiving because it is around my birthday. But I will say Thanksgiving decorations aren't as exciting as Christmas decorations. I also love how on Thanksgiving you have the Macy's Day Parade and at the very end you see Santa come through. So is Thanksgiving the lost child? Yes. If we're all honest, Thanksgiving is definitely the lost child between Halloween and Christmas. I greatly love and appreciate it, but, the decorations for Thanksgiving aren't as exciting, hence why I have a Christmas tree in the background. Anyways, so thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys next week with another new episode. Talk to you later. Bye.